Birdland, that one was crazy. The Orioles won a game Monday night that defies belief. They had one hit until the ninth inning. They were down to a 1-2 count. One more strike, game's over. They get shut out, and this show would have a different tone, but it didn't happen. Basallo came through. So did the Orioles. 7 late runs for a wild and crazy 7-5 win at Kansas City. It was much needed. And we got a lot to dissect over the next half hour after that game. Steve, Tim, and Brad, another edition of Birdland Territory. We've acknowledged a couple times these amazing wins don't often lead to win streaks, and the Orioles are 0 for 2 in that regard. Maybe the third time will be the charm here, guys, but it felt different. It felt good, and I think some pressure maybe was relieved off this team with that victory, I hope.
Yeah, I think – we've talked about before, momentum is really hard to keep a game to game in a 162 game season. But I always thought these extra inning games where you kind of feel like your back's against the wall, you don't know if you're going to come through, you're waiting for somebody to come through. And I don't know, just the extra inning wins always had a different feel after winning them, especially a tight game like that, where, I mean, like we said, if they don't get that hit in the ninth, we're talking completely different today, but there's just something different. And I think giving themselves a couple more innings there, they got the offense going, hit a big grand slam in the 12th, but I don't know. It just feels a little bit different when you win those extra inning hard fought games, especially when you don't score in those extra inning frames to begin with, and you shut them out to give your offense another chance. So I really liked what happened there in the extras, not so much the first 8 innings, but that doesn't really matter. It's all about getting that. You got to get the 27 outs, and the Royals weren't able to do it, and the Orioles capitalized on it.
It was such a bizarre game, guys, right? Like, it was so frustrating watching it through the first, 8 2/3 of the game, where the Orioles went 30 batters between hits, Taylor Ward getting the double in the first inning, and then Samuel Basallo with 2 outs to go in the ninth. There was one stretch where 14 consecutive Orioles were retired. And it was funny. I was texting a buddy of mine while watching that game, and I kept thinking, man, like, the Royals have been dominating this game everywhere besides the scoreboard. They had so many chances to blow open that game, but they were just unable to deliver that blow. They had 3 bases loaded situations and didn't come through. 2 of them with 2 outs. One of them, Kyle Bradish, got out with no outs. The Royals had a chance to really take command of the game, but they kept the Orioles in it, and the Orioles took advantage.
And I think so. They were down to their last strike, guys, and it was Basallo tying that game. And Beavers gave them a lead, Taveras and Basallo again in the 12th. And go ahead, Brad. What were you about to say?
No, I was just going to say, I think the the Royals losing streak had played into this a little bit, because teams seem to find a way to lose when you're on one of these losing streaks. And I think it just kind of played into the Orioles' hand there, where they weren't able to take advantage of any of these opportunities they had, which was, it felt like from inning 1 to inning 7, they had an opportunity to score every single time and extend the lead, and they just weren't able to.
Brad, I remember you bringing up on a prior episode just what type of lift it can give a team winning this type of long game, a 12-inning game where you really had to grind. There were self-inflicted mistakes, but you ended up making the plays necessary to win the game. Like, what was the clubhouse feeling last night in a game like that?
I think they were super pumped. Like I said, I think that was a really uplifting win. I know we talked about the win against the Diamondbacks last week and how we were hoping that would kind of, propel it into a further winning streak, but winning games like that is huge. When you have every single guy in the bullpen basically contribute that was available last night, even getting Tyler Wells up there in an extreme emergency situation, you can tell they were super pumped. Tyler Wells actually made a comment as he was going by the camera. He was pumped up. It's really uplifting like that, and having, rookies step up and guys who don't have tons of experience step up and get big outs. Rico Garcia continues to just be amazing for this team and uplift them in ways that I don't think anybody saw coming. It's wins like that where it was a true team win, where the bullpen kept giving the offense a chance, just waiting for them to get a run across the board. And wins like that are just huge. And it's hard to quantify in the box score. Or, like I said, I think the game had all the emotions. You were frustrated, you were angry, you were pumped, you were, oh no, this is going to happen again there in the 12th inning. But they pulled it out. And I think the clubhouse was super pumped after that game.
So, Birdland, just the second win in the last 7 games for the Orioles, and now they are 11-12. And there were plenty of things that went wrong, but they're better to dissect and repair and work on after you've won, especially one like that. And now we get to Leody Taveras. This is amazing what he's doing. So last year, guys, he hit 205. His OPS was 530 in 180 plate appearances between Texas and Seattle. 205, 530. Now he's batting 341, 998. And he's walked 9 times in 54 plate appearances, where last year he walked 5 in 180. This is crazy. On-base percentage last year, 226, 453. Now he's doubled his on-base. I mean, obviously it's probably not sustainable. We're not expecting him to hit 300 this year. But what he's doing right now, it's just like we predicted, Tim. Leody Taveras and Jeremiah.
I mean, we were talking about this on Sunday, guys. Just these unlikely guys that you thought heading into the year keep coming up big for this club. And Leody Taveras, where would they be without him, Brad? Because Colton Cowser, it's been a rough start to the season. There's no way around it. There were a couple more strikeouts for him last night. He ended up getting pinch hit for Weston Wilson came in the 8th inning. Taveras playing the strong defense, and Steve's right. Is there going to be a regression to the mean? If you look at his career, he's never been this hot of a hitter. But we were talking on my show yesterday, Brad, just if he could be that guy that he was for the Rangers in 2023, where he played a big role in that club that ended up winning the World Series that year. He had an OPS plus of 101, so slightly above average to go along with the defense. You'll take it. But that being said, you're going to ride this hot streak as long as possible right now.
Absolutely. And I think the World Series experience is huge for this team. Last night in the post-game interview, he's talking about taking Basallo underneath his wing and just kind of stay with it, man. You're a good player. It's going to come around. And we saw that come through too. So he's shown leadership on that side of it, throwing in the defense that you already expected. And now this unexpected offense. I think it's huge right now because it's almost building a bridge until the big names get going. And I think when you can kind of rely on the later in the lineup at bat that he gives. And to me, it's more of seeing pitches in the zone. He's taking his walks when it's time to, but the pitches in the zone, he's not missing. Like that high changeup last night, he hit for a grand slam. If he's swinging kind of crazy, he probably swings underneath that or over the top of it. But right now he's seeing the zone so well. And that's what I'm seeing. It's just a short, simple swing. That ball didn't seem to me like it should have got out, but he absolutely crushed it. And it's just a short, simple swing in the zone right now. And he's taking advantage of the mistakes these pitchers are giving him.
It kept carrying like any power hitter would hit one. 419 is where it ended up, and 4 runs for the Orioles. And as it turned out, they pretty much needed them all in a 7-5 win. So many more aspects to get into. Bradish's outing. What about Basallo? Lauded for his work behind the plate and at the plate in this game. Gunnar picked off twice. That was frustrating. And the bullpen roster moves that are upcoming, it's going to be challenging for the Orioles in a department and an aspect of this team performing well. How they're going to get all these guys on the roster who are soon to come back. We'll touch on that and more coming up, Birdland Territory.
There are more than 70,000 events listed on the SeatGeek app. So if you're looking to do basically anything this spring or summer, there's one place to go.
Yeah, SeatGeek has all the concerts, baseball games, World Cup tickets, whatever you need is on SeatGeek. Trust me, I'm going to be hitting some concerts and some festivals this summer. I'm going to be looking for SeatGeek.
I can't wait to see AJ getting the best tickets he can for concerts and festivals. We'll get plenty of pictures there. But also when he's looking, what he does is he looks for, when he's going to, say, an arena for a concert, a green dot, meaning he's got a good deal in a good spot. That's where SeatGeek helps you out with over 35 million downloads. SeatGeek is the #1 rated ticketing app. And of course, we have the code for the FT Network. Territory 10 for 10% off your next set of tickets at SeatGeek. That's 10% off any tickets with the promo code Territory10. Make sure you click the link in the description to download the app and have the code automatically added to your account so you can use it later. Props to SeatGeek.
Birdland Territory rolling on here after the Orioles' incredible win on Monday night as we tape this Tuesday morning ahead of Game 2 in Kansas City. So when he was on the farm, guys, and I was covering the Oriole minors as I do, I heard from many people, most outside the organization, doubted Samuel Basallo's defense at the major league level as a catcher. The Orioles, to their credit, never did. I kept telling fans, Oriole brass feels this guy can catch in the big leagues. They keep telling me that. And because he's got a hose for an arm, he's agile for a big guy of that size back there, and he wants to do it so badly. He told me with all his heart and soul, I want to catch in the big leagues and show these guys I can do it. And I think he made strides late last year. The pitching staff started to believe in him. And Brad, that's really what has to happen here. If the pitchers think the same way some of those scouts thought and have doubts about this guy, maybe this can't work, but it is working.
Yeah, and I mean, if you watched that game last night, he was like a hockey goalie back there. Kyle Bradish had a hard time throwing his fastball, and he went heavy breaking balls, and he blocked every single one. And there was multiple times there where he made great backhanded picks to keep the ball in front of him and keep a run from scoring. And if you don't have confidence after watching that game last night as an Orioles pitcher, then I don't know who you'd have confidence in, because he did a great job back there. There was even a couple of times he called timeout, went and talked to the pitcher, settled him down. And that's what you want to see. It's tough as a young catcher to go out there and instill confidence in these guys if you don't know what you're going to say when you go out there, or you're nervous to go out there and just kind of calm the pitcher down. But he showed great confidence back there behind the plate, calling pitches. And then, like I said, those timeouts, they were huge to just kind of settle Bradish into a couple times where he got out of those big jams and wasn't prompted by the dugout. He went up by himself right away, called time. And I think that was great to see. And I think the injury to Adley might end up being a blessing in disguise for Orioles. I think getting more opportunities for him behind the plate might give him more confidence moving on the season, not only behind the plate, but while he's hitting also. And I think he's just doing a great job. And last night really displayed it.
Yeah, and Adley Rutschman, he's eligible to come off the IL today. We'll see if he ends up getting activated or not. But for me, that was Samuel Basallo's best game so far this season. Just most all-around game, where he had the two big hits in the ninth inning where he was down in the count. It was 1-2, and you're thinking, oh, geez, here we go. But he came through in that big spot and then came through again in the 12th inning to lead off that inning and drive in another run. He also worked 2 walks. And Brad, you're 100% right. His blocking last night was fantastic. And that has to give pitchers so much confidence in him that, okay, this ball is not going to get beyond him. We're not going to give a base runner potential extra 90 feet. But how about the throw to hose Michael Garcia? That was a perfect throw to get him trying to steal second base. Samuel Basallo was really, really strong last night.
Really strong. And he short hopped that throw. And here's something I asked Rutschman about during the last homestand, since Adley has short hopped numerous throws. I went up to him and I said, don't yell at me for suggesting this, but are you intending to short hop some throws? And he said, no, but you're trying to make the perfect throw low into the bag. And if I'm going to err, I'm going to err low rather than high. And so it's interesting because I wondered to him, I said, I was wondering maybe analytics is telling you the ball gets there faster if it skips. And these infielders are so good at picking them, you're not worried about it. But he said, no, it's not that. He goes, it's trying to make a really great throw. And if you're wrong, you want to be wrong short than high. Interesting take there.
Definitely. And I think having the confidence of the taggers between Gunnar and Jeremiah at second, they work from up to down, where a lot of guys, when they try to pick it, they try to start with their glove moving up, and then it's really hard to come back in time. But they do a great job of kind of setting where they want to start the tag and just going straight to the ground. That was one of the things when I was with the Orioles. Bobby Dickerson was amazing with JJ Hardy and Jonathan Scope. They got their high point and they worked down. And I mean, with Wieters back there and Caleb Joseph, it was just one of those things. I'm starting to see that again with the Orioles, where they kind of set the glove where they want to start it and work their way down. And if it's above that, it's going to be really hard to tag the runner out. But I mean, every single time on these short hops, it's a short hop. Their glove stays where it is at the highest point and it goes straight down. And that 10th of a second there makes all the difference. And last night, Jeremiah's pick at second was a great example of that. Just put the glove where you want to start it, and he caught it and tagged him. And it wasn't even close to second base, where a lot of times if you're working the glove up towards the sky, it's going to be really hard to bring it down and tag him out there.
Brad, I wanted to get your thoughts on something that Ben said yesterday on the broadcast, where it was early on in the game, Bradish was still in, and Basallo would set up his glove, but then pull it down. And Ben kind of brought up the point saying, hey, if I was a pitcher, I'd want him to just keep that. That way I have a target to hit. What did you think of that explanation? Were you the same way?
Yeah, it's kind of a new way of catching. And I think it led to some of my struggles later in my career. I mean, I'm just so used to the target being set, but with how they're grading catchers now, they want them to work down to up to give the umpire a better look and kind of steal strikes at the bottom of the zone. So for me, I really struggle with it because I was so used to throwing to where the glove was, but you have a tendency as a catcher to kind of drop your glove as you catch it. So I know what Ben was saying, but like he said, these guys are so good now that it's they're not looking for a target. They're just throwing to an area and they're using their stuff. So it's like I watch some of these games sometimes and I feel like I'm watching a completely different game than I played. So I know exactly what Ben was saying, but it's just kind of how they do it now. They set the target where they kind of want it, drop it, and then bring it back up towards that area. So Basallo's doing exactly what they're teaching him, and that's how they want guys to do it now. But for me, I definitely struggle with that. But with Bradish throwing so many breaking balls, I don't think he really is looking at the target. He's just throwing to an area, and I think it helps the catcher be able to frame it better, maybe steal a couple of strikes here or there. And then last night we saw with the picks, it's the ball, you start your glove down, and if it's in the dirt, I think it gives them a better chance to keep the ball in front of them.
So changing topics, Gunnar gets picked off twice last night. I like how Alvarez addresses that in the postgame, almost in a joking manner, where he says to the media, yeah, I told Gunnar, there's your pickoff quota for the year. It's his way of saying that's not acceptable, but I'm not throwing our star player under the bus here on it, but I'm not going to ignore it either, and I've already addressed it with the player. I'm sure Gunnar feels terrible. To his credit, he had the focus to make that defensive play at third base when the ball got away from Weston Wilson, critical double play in extra innings. So here's my take, guys. I'm just not going to worry about Gunnar Henderson right now. I know he's not hitting the way he's going to. 2 pickoffs. It's just not like him. But I'm still going to say this is going to be a great year when it's over. Right now, though, it's not that.
Yeah, and you know what I'm starting to see last night in his at-bats? When he took those walks, it was like a frustrated bat throw. He wants to help the team win so bad, and he's willing to take his walks when he gets it, but I think he's trying to do anything he can to help out if his bat's not there at this moment. And that's just my take on it. I might be completely off on that, but when he took those 2 walks, he seemed extra adamant about taking the walk, and he was just he was pumped about it, but at the same time, you could tell there's a little bit of frustration creeping in there. The second baseman made a nice diving play on the ball in the hole, and he just kind of feels, you can kind of see hitters, and a lot of times you want to face those guys when they're going through those moments, but at the same time, a hitter like Gunnar, is going to come out of it. So you're getting where the clock is ticking on batters like Gunnar. So I think he's just trying to do anything he can to help this team, maybe take an extra step lead, or maybe the Royals had something because it was 2 quick picks. The broadcast almost didn't even pick up their pickoff throws to first base. So I feel like there was something there, but I agree with you, Steve. It's one of those things. He met his pickoff quote for the year, and he might take that extra half step towards the bag now to make sure it doesn't happen again.
Yeah, look, it can't happen. In those moments, it definitely can't happen twice in a game. And what's really unfortunate is in both of those instances, he probably would have came around to score because he worked the walk, and then Taylor Ward had the double in the first inning, and he probably would have scored on that. And then in the 9th inning, with how it played out, Ward ends up walking, Beavers ends up hitting pounder that would have moved him over the third, and then Sam Williams. I'm sure he's kicking himself. Those type of moments can't happen in that type of game where runs are at a premium and your offense is really, really scuffling. But Brad, I kind of want to get your thoughts from a reliever perspective, from a pitcher perspective. Like, picking off a base runner, how difficult is that? Like what goes into that in trying to execute it?
Yeah, after the leadoff walk, you're kicking yourself because that's the last thing, especially in a 1-0 game in the ninth inning. That's the absolute last thing you want to do. You'd rather them hit a hard single through the hole for whatever reason. That the leadoff walk thing is real, and I can't explain it. But when you're able to go over there, you walk them, and without even making another pitch to the next hitter, you pick off a runner. I mean, you're thinking the game's over. When you get an out like that, that's a freebie, and it's just handed to you on a platter. You're thinking this game's over. There's no way. And then, of course, he goes and walks the next hitter, maybe by the next two, and you put yourself in an even worse spot. But when you get a pickoff like that, you're thinking it's over, because to me, it was always the first out of the inning. If you get that first out, everything seemed to roll from there. If the runner got on, especially on a walk, you're really just pressing to make pitches from there on. So that had to be a huge lift for Urseg there in the ninth. And yeah, he wasn't able to get it done, but that was a huge lift in that moment. I was shocked that he actually wasn't able to get through that inning after that pickoff.
So a few more things to dissect about this wild night in Kansas City, including Kyle Bradish allowing 10 hits but 1 run. He's getting close to being himself. I think we're going to see it real soon. We'll touch on that, and we touch on the bullpen roster moves coming. How the Orioles going to make this work? We'll touch on that in a moment here on Birdland Territory.
Big Bad Morning Show. Vinny and Haney. Inside Access. Live on YouTube weekdays 6 till 6. Search Baltimore 105.7 The Fan. Subscribe for daily shorts right to your phone and never miss what you missed. 105.7 The Fan.
So Kyle Bradish, 5 1/3, 10 hits, 1 run, 3 walks, 7 Ks. They had plenty of chances to really do big damage, and he didn't let it happen. 3.96 ERA. How is he doing, guys? Where is he at right now as he tries to be that number 1 or 2 pitcher for the Orioles?
I think I saw it last night when he was able to front door those sinkers to the lefties. That to me is Kyle Bradish. He's going to throw his breaking ball, and when he can dot that sinker into a lefty, that's when he's at his best. And he showed flashes of it last night. But Ben made a really good point on the broadcast. He thought that his body is just slightly ahead of his arm when he's throwing his fastball. And we saw that fastball is elevated. And I think that's why he had so many hits against him, was that he was elevating the fastball a little bit too much where he wasn't trying to. Obviously, his breaking ball and his breaking stuff is going to be what makes him who he is. And we saw that almost exclusively abandoned the fastball there after about the second or third inning and threw, I'd say it was like 90% breaking balls there at the end of the game. So those are there. He's right there where he wants with the breaking balls, but those dotted fastballs, sinkers that he ran off the plate into a lefty for a looking strikeout, to me is what makes him so good. When he throws that four-seamer that cuts a little bit into the lefty to get him off of it, then he can throw the sinker in. And that to me is when he becomes elite. And last night we saw flashes of it. And you know what? You got to give – he's not going to have a perfect outing every single time. He's not going to have perfect innings, but he made pitches when he had to, and that's what you want to see from a front-end starter.
That's exactly it, Brad. I think when you look at that game, did Kyle Bradish have his best stuff? No. Was the command there? No. I think he went 3-0 to 3 of the first 6 batters in the game. But in a weird way, the turning point in Kyle Bradish's start, to me, was the bases loaded situation. Not the first out that he got, but the second out that he got on Caglione, the slider away. It was a nasty pitch, and he was able to get out of that inning. And then I think he allowed 1 base runner in the 4th inning, had a clean 5th inning, and then they let him stay in the 5th inning when I think it was Isbell trying to get a bunt down. But with Bradish, the swing and miss was there. He got 15 whiffs and he had 7 strikeouts. But to the other side of it, the 10 hits, that's the most amount of hits he's given up since 2022. The walks kind of resurfaced again for him after only having 1 walk in his last outing. He had 3 walks yesterday. So I think you see the flashes, but if you are pulling the positives out of this, that's what you expect out of your top of the line guys. When they don't have their A game, you want them to keep you in the game. And that's exactly what he did. He gave up 1 earned run over 5 1/3.
And for me also, sorry, Steve, just real quick, I love that he was able to get into the 6th after that long first inning. I think he threw almost 30 pitches, able to get into the 6th. It just makes the bullpen be able to be extended a little bit longer, which they needed last night. And I think just being able to get even the one out in the 6th inning there was huge in that game. And I know it's like one of those finer points, but I just think being able to get it back, get the ship rolling again in the right direction, and get into the 6th inning is huge, and it will play for the next 2 games, I think, also.
Yeah, and I see 6 innings, 3 hits, no runs, 10 strikeouts coming. That's coming for Bradish. He can't do that every night. Who can? But I think he's building to where we get that breakout start, and really his season is starting to turn for the better. That's great news for Birdland. Now in our final minutes, the Orioles have Enns, Aiken, and Kittredge all on minor league rehab right now. That's 3 key bullpen pieces. Cameron Foster is obviously someone who could be optioned back. But then after that, guys, 3 pitchers have no options: Garcia, Helsley, Suarez. 5 have options, most of which you wouldn't want to send out right now, from Nunez to Cano to Wolfram to Wells and Foster. Foster's the only one of the 5 that, okay, he might have to go back. How are they going to pull this off?
I have no idea, guys. We were talking prior to the show. I think Grant Wolfram might be in danger just because Dietrich Enns and Keegan Aiken are both lefties. And of course, Wolfram is the only lefty in the bullpen right now. He might be one of the guys just playing the numbers game, and he of course has options. But that 3rd pitcher, I have no idea who it's going to be, guys. I really don't know.
Yeah.
Like off the top of my head, I almost would lean Suarez, but Suarez doesn't have options, so that complicates it so much. Brad, it's really a roster crunch here for Mike Elias. And who would have thought we'd be having this conversation prior to the season? But the bullpen's just been that good.
Yeah, and it's one of those subjects that's I'm super sensitive to, and it almost gives me PTSD because everybody they know what's happening down there, and guys understand. You hope that they're having conversations with the coaching staff that, you might not deserve to go down. It's just where we're at with the roster right now. And I think options are going to play into it. Unless you're willing to possibly lose Suarez, you're going to have to option 3 guys down, and guys that don't deserve to go down. And you just got to, I hope that the coaching staff is just having these conversations with them. And when they go down to AAA, they kind of keep where they're at, because all these guys are looking so good and so sharp right now. You could flip a coin for anybody that's going to be sent out.
How difficult is it living that, Brad, as that guy? All of these guys are pitching well that we're bringing up. And you probably know, hey, if I have a rough outing in the next week, that could do me in. There's a lot of pressure there for these guys.
Yeah, it sucks. There's no other way to kind of describe it. You're thinking about it. When you go out there, you feel like you have to be perfect, and it's just you can't fully perform at that level. And it's one of those things where you hope you put yourself in a spot, but like we said, with what they have to do right now, every guy's put themselves in a spot to stay on the roster for one reason or the other. Like they were talking about last night with Suarez, if you wanted to get rid of him, who's going to be the long guy? Maybe Tyler Wells, maybe you don't know what they're thinking. You don't know where they're going to go with this. So it's really, none of these guys deserve to go, but you can only have, like we were talking about before the show, 13 pitchers. So it's just one of those things that's part of the game, which sucks. And these guys, you can tell, are rooting for each other. They have each other's backs. They're all picking each other up. And the bullpen unit's really strong, and it's what's keeping them at their record right now and keeping them afloat. They're just giving their offense a chance to get going here. So you hate to see any of these guys leave, but like we said, at the end of the day, it's just kind of the way baseball works, and it's a roster crunch, like we said.
And on the starting side, we've seen players optioned out, not because of performance, because they needed a spot. It's already happened to Povich. It's happened to Brandon Young. To their credit, they went to AAA and pitched great. Brandon Young, International League Pitcher of the Week for an incredible outing he had, and Povich has been good. So that's what you want. You want guys knocking on the door at AAA, and if they have to go, as you said, Brad, keep rolling, keep doing your thing, and realize I didn't do anything wrong here, but I have to stay sharp. I can't sulk for a minute, or end maybe when they need a guy, it won't be me.
Yeah, and I think that's where it gets a little tricky in AAA is, you're hoping it's only the 10 days or the minimum to go down. But then when it starts leaking in 2 weeks, to 3 weeks, to 4 weeks, you just never know. Oh man, I pitched so well up there. And that's when I deserve to be up there. I should be there. And that's when it just gets really tough to overcome. So like I said, I just hope the front office and the coaching staff is having these conversations with these guys that they all deserve to be there. They just can't be. And when you go down to AAA, do the best you can to just stay where you are right now, because anything can happen on any given day. And that's what the best teams do, is they go down, they stay focused. They're able to stay connected with the big league team and the coaches and all that kind of stuff. And when their time comes again, they're ready to go back up.
I call a baseball season 162 chapters, with so many more to be written. And to me, it's fascinating. I mean, to think the Orioles had this great win. So what will it mean for the next 10 days? None of us know. Will Leody Taveras still had 900 OPS in 10 days? None of us know. Will Gunnar and Alonso finally get locked in like we expect? None of us know. But we're going to find out. We're going to be here to talk about it all throughout. So hope you guys enjoyed this one. And thanks to Tim. Thanks to Brad. I'm Steve Molesky. Catch you next time on another edition of Birdland Territory.